So is it now Champions League or bust for Forest after they crash out of the FA Cup in the semi-finals to City? Welcome to my match reaction. Good morning, good evening, or good night. Hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to your latest Forest video. Coming up, I'm going to talk through a few things. I'm going to be quite objective in my approach to this. I'm going to talk about how this first half versus second half thing, for me, is starting to become an issue. I want to talk about Nuno's tactics, and I want to look at the greater picture of where Forest currently are, where we've been, and what potentially can or can't be achieved. And is it UCL or bust for us right now? So if you're enjoying the content, please don't forget to hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed as well if you are new here, as we are well on the road to 25k now. Thank you to everyone who's subscribed to this channel. Okay, so let's kick this off. Look, I've talked in depth about the game itself, so check out the player ratings from yesterday. We got a Grumpy Old Reds tonight, I think at about 8:30, so we'll dissect the game in its particulars on there as well. But there's a few key things that we've got to start looking at, talking about, and addressing. And the first one is about this trend we've seen in a few games of late of first half versus second half. I take you to the Newcastle match where Forest were atrocious in the first half, woke up and came out in the second half and started to play football and could have got themselves back into it. We saw it against Aston Villa, shocking in the first half and a lot better in the second half. Yet in both those two games, we came out with nothing. Now, for me, in the Newcastle one, I felt they took their foot off the gas in the second half. In the Villa one, I thought Forest put their foot on the gas. And I'm sure you guys can think of other examples as well, but I'm narrowing the field down to the last few games because these are the relative ones that we are seeing now. It's the same again yesterday for me in the City game. It's a game of two halves, as the saying goes. Forest were pathetic in the first half. And I don't think there's any of you that would disagree. Okay, you might not use a strong terminology as I just did. But why is the question? Why is it that in the second half, we can create chances? And these are gilt-edged chances. Morgan Gibbs-White's miss. You got Elanga's miss. You got Taiwo with a hard chance where he hits the post, and a couple of other half chances as well. Gibbs-White hitting the crossbar from a good shot on his weak foot. Where was this in the first half? We can't keep giving these teams, and it seems to be against the better teams in the league. As I mentioned, Villa, Newcastle, Man City, just as three examples. These are three teams that are in and around us at the moment in the league. Okay, granted, this was the FA Cup, but to give up a 45-minute window, one half of football, where you just allow them to have the possession, you sit too deep, you let them dictate the tempo and the pace of play, and you're just holding on that your defense is going to be solid enough. And the problem with yesterday, you're only playing with 2 of your 4, so 50% of your key starting defense. Because I think it's gone a bit unnoticed that Aina's not playing, that Neco Williams was suspended as well, that we just end up with Murillo and Milenkovic in the middle. Now, I'm not saying Zach Abbott was rubbish or Tuffalo was rubbish. I thought Zach Abbott was actually quite good yesterday. But there's cohesion in a back 4 lineup. Aina will know where Milenkovic is going to be. Neco Williams and Murillo will have an understanding on that left-hand side, and that's come because of the game time they've spent together. So in itself, doing that first half tactic is very risky. And you saw after 2 minutes, bang, in it goes. And for me, I think that was a bit on Danilo and a bit on the defense not closing Rico Lewis when he took the shot. But nothing changed after that for 45 minutes. Danilo was having a stinker. He could have been hooked off 30 minutes into the game quite easily, and I don't think anyone would have batted an eyelid. But it's not Danilo's fault. It's the system's fault for me. In these tougher games where we're seeing the bigger teams, or I don't like that word, but you know what I'm saying, those tougher teams that we're coming up against, we are one of those teams. And I feel like it's an inferiority complex at times that we're not respecting ourselves. And that for me is not acceptable. We're where we are in the league because of what we've done. And not showing ourselves that respect means we're showing the opposition too much respect. We did it against Man City at the Etihad earlier on in the season. They blew us away in the first half because we just stood off. Yes, Chris Wood had that chance and what have you, but it's the same kind of story. And I just feel the players, or maybe Nuno or whoever it is within the club, needs to just remind everyone of what they've done this season, that we should be the team that's being respected by the opposition because of the dangers that we do have. So that's one thing I wanted to cover off. I'd be interested in your thoughts of that. Do we have this inferiority complex in terms of the way we set up? Or is it because maybe the players, Nuno's assessed them and he thought they're not actually good enough to be a possession-based team or come out on the front foot or what have you? What do you guys think on that? Now, in terms of what this means, I've been consistent. I've said FA Cup is bonus. Champions League is the ambition. Remember, this is a late ambition within the season because of how well it's been so far. So let's not forget what's happened, but we're looking in the here and now, where my expectations have changed. Maybe yours have or haven't. That's entirely your prerogative to do so. But we have to get Champions League football for me, just because of the length of time we've spent in third or in the top five, where whatever position we've been in, to then go and blow it in this late stage of the season, I would see that as a bit of a capitulation. Yes, we've had some injuries. Yes, if we win against Brentford on Thursday, we're back into third place. But this pressure is going to mount because over the next few games, we're going to be the last team to play every time it comes to game week 34, 35, etc. We got Palace on the Monday night. Everyone else would have played at the weekend. Yes, there's an advantage to that if they've dropped points, but if they've all picked up their points, then we have the pressure of picking up the points, and we're going to see, can the boys handle this pressure? So that's another thing we've got to consider. I still think we make it over the line. I still think 66, maybe 67 points is what you need to get. If we can beat Brentford, that reduces the pressure. If some of these teams drop points over the weekend when it comes to Palace, maybe their mind is set on the final. And big up to Palace. I hope they go and beat Man City. So there's all these things to take into account. But we've got to start playing as a cohesive team. It can't be this defensive mindset 24/7 where it's 10 behind the ball and then the ball gets punted forward straight to the opposition defense. Now, I get it when Sells is doing it because Chris Wood is maybe competing for the ball, even though I don't think he wins many of them. But when you look in the normal flow of the game, you'll see, I don't know, I'll just say Murillo as an example. I'm not specifically saying him, but when he gets the ball and clears it forward, there's no Forest players up there. You saw yesterday Gvardiol or Diaz would pick it up and then Man City start again and the next wave comes on and on. Yet when we started to press the Man City back line, you saw Morgan Gibbs-White's chance where he missed the open goal created because Dominguez pressed the Man City left back and forced the mistake. Gibbs-White grabs the ball and takes a shot. Now, by the way, on that, he didn't even need to go around the keeper. If you look at Ortega, he spread his legs, man. He could have just hit it first time through the legs, easy goal. I think he took too heavy a touch to go around the keeper. And then even when he did that, it was still a gaping wide open goal. That shot really did frustrate me. I don't know why, but it has. So, look, the point I'm making is when Forest press, we actually look like a good cohesive team in the opposition half as well. All I'm saying here, and the point long-windedly that I'm getting to, is we need a bit more balance. To just instantly put the reverse gear on and sit back for the first half, when I've seen this team press, and I'm not saying go and press the goalkeeper and the high line and all this, just a mid press in that midfield. I've seen us force mistakes out of the opposition and we look more threatening because we're winning that ball higher up the line. Now, if Forest get Champions League, we can't go into next season in Champions League and just say, all right, here you go, Real Madrid. Here you go, Inter Milan, Barca, whoever it is. We'll sit back and wait for you. But this is Nuno's tactics, and look, we'll discuss it when hopefully we get there. But I think over this pre-season coming up, assuming we do get it, or even Europa football, whatever it is, I would like to assume that we're going to see a slight change in the style and a progression into a European outfit rather than what we've seen this season. And I'll still bang on about it, guys. And I'm sorry, and I'm sure you guys are bored of it, but that midfield doesn't get used. Like, individually, I think Danilo's a good player. Individually, I think Yates is a good player. Individually, I think Dominguez is a good player. Sangare, good player. But when that ball's always going over their head, what chance do they have of building a pattern of play in that midfield? Of giving, more importantly, I think this is the thing that gets missed, giving respite to that back four. Because Murillo and Milenkovic and the two fullbacks must come off having sweated about 2 kilos every single game with the amount of running and tracking back and defending they have to do. But if that midfield could hold a bit of possession, I'm not saying get to 70% or something like that. I'm just saying passing patterns, don't long kick it from cells every time, build it into the midfield. You know, gives the defense a bit of a respite. And maybe we won't see these little mistakes that are creeping into the game. So I'm venting a little. I'm still very confident we get top 5. I think if we beat Brentford this week, we're fully in that driver's seat with the 3 points coming from Leicester in a couple of weeks' time, with West Ham looking horrific at the moment, and with maybe Palace with 2 eyes probably, not just 1 eye, on the final. So things are okay. This was a cup match. It is what it is. Wasn't top of my priority list this season. But yeah, get your thoughts in. Look, we'll break down the game later. We'll talk through the 2 Man City goals. We'll talk through the Forest misses, the Elanga miss and all that. I'm sure the boys will have their say. But the bottom line is there's only one person I blame for yesterday. And that's Rob and his stupid hat. Because he wore it and guess what? It didn't work. So we'll catch you guys tonight on Grumpy Old Reds. If you haven't already, check out the player ratings from yesterday, where, of course, you guys got to have your say on your vote. If you haven't already, please don't forget to hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed if you are new here. And we've still got this, guys. And we'll see you on Grumpy Old Reds. Come on, you Reds.